Now, the Narendra Modi government's latest move to amend the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or the FCRA Act, has sparked a fresh political row ahead of the state elections and also the election in Puducherry, with Congress members of parliament leading a protest at the parliament's Makar Dwar, holding placards that read, "Stop targeting NGOs and institutions." They've also raised the FCRA Amendment Wapas Lo slogans as well. In the parliament too, the opposition resorted to ruckus and sloganeering. They're fuming over the amendments to the FCRA bill that have now been proposed. They seek to tighten the rules around how NGOs handle foreign funding. Now, the breaking news that we have for you is that the FCRA bill will not be taken up for discussion today. The bill had been listed, but it will not be taken up, is what the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, has now said. And he's also accused the opposition of now misleading the people. Rijiju has slammed fearmongering on the part of the opposition when it comes to this bill. It will not be taken up for consideration today, for discussion or any passage. Let's listen into what Mr. Rijiju had to say.
स्पीकर महोदय और केरल के एमपी मेरे ख्याल से गलत फहमी में ये हंगामा कर रहे हैं। जैसे स्पीकर साहब ने कहा, एक मिनट सुन लीजिए, ये FCRA अमेंडमेंट बिल पहले इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था, इसीलिए आज सूची में आया है। मैंने कांग्रेस के वरिष्ठ नेताओं को कल भी बताया, आज भी बताया कि आज FCRA बिल जो लिस्टेड है वो कंसिडरेशन के लिए टेकअप नहीं किया जा रहा है। और दूसरी बात, FCRA को लेकर के गलत फहमी जो फैलाया गया है केरल में, ये ठीक बात नहीं है। FCRA का जो ओरिजिनल बड़ा अमेंडमेंट 2010 में कांग्रेस ने जो लाया था, उसके बाद कई अमेंडमेंट आए हैं। इस बार जो अमेंडमेंट है ये फॉरेन से कंट्रीब्यूशन आता है उसके रेगुलेशन के लिए और सही इस्तेमाल के लिए, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, नेशनल इंटरेस्ट, इसका ध्यान में रखते हुए पैसा का गलत इस्तेमाल ना हो, इसका निगरानी के लिए एक अच्छा कदम रहा है। और यही सरकार कर रहे हैं, किसी धर्म के खिलाफ नहीं है, किसी संगठन को टारगेट नहीं किया जा रहा है। यह केरल में चुनाव को देखते हुए कांग्रेस और कम्युनिस्ट वालों ने गलत बात को फैलाया गया है। The Congress and Communist Party are misleading the people of Kerala about the FCRA, which is not correct. Please don't mislead the House. Please don't mislead the people of Kerala for the sake of election.
Well, let me go across to Niyamika for more on this. Niyamika, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Rijiju, has accused the opposition of trying to mislead the people of Kerala. However, this particular bill or the proposed amendments were listed for discussion today, but that will not proceed. And there's therefore been a change in agenda. Is that change in agenda a response to the opposition's protests? What is it? What do we know?
Well, the opposition parties had made it clear in the morning itself that they are going to hold a protest both outside as well as inside the house. We have seen that how at Makar Dwar they raised slogans against the government of India, making allegations that this is basically a draconian bill and unconstitutional law which has been which is brought in by the government of India to target the NGOs which are basically affiliated with the minorities, and that is the only reason why they have been making this allegation against the government of India that this is forcefully being imposed upon the people of this country, and that is the only reason why they had planned a protest within the house as well. We have seen that during the proceedings in Lok Sabha, it was the Union Minister Kiren Rijiju who had clarified that FCRA bill is not going to be taken in the house. For that reason, he has also made this allegation against opposition parties that in view of the upcoming assembly elections in the state of Kerala, the opposition parties, specifically the Congress and the left, are trying to mislead the people by making these false allegations, as the intention is not to target any particular community which is being alleged by the opposition parties. But on the other side, we have seen that how there are serious allegations which are being leveled upon the government of India regarding this entire matter. In fact, the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, during his address in a public rally, he has also mentioned that the FCRA bill is being specifically going to target the minorities, as he has also questioned that why these similar rules are not being, imposed again upon the RSS, they can get some funding from foreign. But what about the other NGOs? As this is basically a tactics on the part of the government of India to specifically target the minorities in the state of Kerala.
Right, so that's of course the opposition's narrative. The Bharatiya Janata Party has now hit back at what the opposition said. Many thanks for that, Niyamika. Rajiv Chandrasekhar has said on behalf of the BJP that this particular amendment that's now been sought to be introduced in the FCRA Act is only meant for those who misuse foreign funds, and that transparency cannot be negotiated. That's the BJP's view.
Congress and the CPM want to make more of it, then it is politics. It is 9 days to election and they will manufacture a controversy. But for anybody who tries to understand FCRA, it simply says this reform, it simply says this: if you have given some reasons as part of your FCRA application and you violate those reasons and misuse the money that you have received from abroad, then it will amount to almost tantamount to money laundering, and therefore you will be running afoul of the normal laws like Money Laundering Act. That is what this reform is about.
So that, of course, is the explanation coming from Rajiv Chandrasekhar of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Let's in fact take you through what currently is the issue at hand and what are the amendments that have now been proposed. The FCRA, remember, was first, of course, adopted in Parliament in the year 2010. Subsequently, it's been through a series of amendments. The FCRA Act of 2010 regulates foreign funding to NGOs. It ensures money does not get misused, that there's no misuse for anti-India activities, and it came into force on the 1st of May 2011. There are as many as 16,000 organizations that have been registered, and the annual funding inflow is estimated to be around 22 crores a year. Now, let's take you through what the amendments propose. It proposes that the centre can appoint a designated authority. If an FCRA license is cancelled, then the authority can accordingly act. An authority can also take control of funds as well as assets. It can manage as well as supervise foreign funds, and it can also temporarily control properties. If the license is subsequently restored, the assets are to be returned to the concerned NGO. That is, of course, what the FCRA stipulates as well, at least the amendments that have now sought to be introduced. Now, amid this entire row that we are currently witnessing over the FCRA, the Catholic Bishops' Conference has now decided to flag this particular issue to the Ministry of Home Affairs. They've said that there are serious concerns over the proposed amendments, that there could possibly be a concern over the violation of property rights as well. And they've decided to appeal to the MHA to reconsider the provisions of this particular bill, including claiming that this lacks transparency and that the proposed framework also raises concerns over Article 300A of the Constitution. It has also cited the concern over excessive state control over civil society, and that it may also disrupt services for the poor. This is the Catholic Bishops' Conference that has now raised these several red flags over the FCRA to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, there's also been a response from the government to these concerns that have been raised by the Catholic bishops, as well as, of course, several others who fear that this particular amendment or the series of amendments that have been proposed will trample upon minority rights. The government has now claimed that the narrative that's been pushed by the opposition is misleading. This amounts to fearmongering over the amendments that have been proposed. The government has said that the new provisions are being misread deliberately by the opposition to convey a false impression that the centre is moving to take over NGOs and even religious institutions. The government's response has been straightforward, that this is not meant to take over, that this is a regulatory framework intended to promote transparency.
There are some rumors spread by the Congress Party and Communist Party in Kerala that Government of India is bringing FCRA to stop the activities of various religious organizations. This is completely false, fabricated and misleading. The proposed FCRA Amendment Bill is only to regulate the flow of foreign funding to India, to check the misuse of any funds for illegal activities in the national interest, because there are certain money which illegally comes and used against national security. So for national interest, for national security, there is a proposed legislation. It is only amendment to regulate the flow of the funds. So I would strongly reject these kind of rumors spread by the Congress Party and Communist Party.
Now, one particular clause that has now triggered a lot of outrage is the special clause 16A subsection 7. This deals with the places of worship. The law says that if such assets are involved under the purview of the FCRA, and if for whatever reason the license happens to be cancelled or surrendered, the designated authority, which is of course according to the law or the proposed law appointed by the central government, can hand over the management or operation to a person in a manner to be prescribed. It also mandates that religious character of the place of worship must be maintained. The government has said that there are several safeguards that have been built into the law. The opposition says that this opens the door to control, and that's where the politics has now kicked in. Especially in the poll-bound state of Kerala, both the left as well as the Congress are calling this as a targeted move on the part of the central government against minority institutions.
I think it's a terrible bill. How can the government take on the right to confiscate schools, hospitals, orphanages built over a century by church groups? And I'm a Hindu, but I have gone to church schools, I've gone to Christian schools. I know the social service they are doing. The government has no right to take over such schools and colleges. It is wrong. This amendment must go to a standing committee and be studied more carefully.